Please go to the diary room.
Every single season and learn everything that there is to know about everybody.
Please make your way to the diary
celebrity, Brandy.
Shit.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of The Diary Room. Back here to close out the month of December here for, again, another episode. I am Matt, back here with Aman. Aman, how are you?
I am great. Excited to be back. We've been just chugging along all month long this December. We hope that you guys are enjoying our little special holiday gift to you this season.
Yes.
And we're back with another one.
Our final holiday gift of the season, who I think might have just seen the intro for the first time, is Jacob Jones. Jacob, how are you?
I am good, and I did see the intro for the first time, and I was kind of amazed. Like,
yeah, shout out to Tim.
That's a nice ass intro. That's a very nice intro. But no, I'm very excited to be here with you all, especially to close out December. Is this the last one of the year?
It's gonna be the last one of the year. Yeah.
Shit, yeah.
Wow,
Okay.
I feel very brought into this. Thank y'all.
We started this all the way back in July. I think it was July, right?
Yes,
yeah,
because
it was
July.
Like 2 weeks before Big Brother started. And
Mhm.
yeah, we're closing out the first calendar year here with you, Jacob.
I think, I'm very excited. I feel very privileged, and I think y'all have an exciting 2025 ahead of y'all if y'all are ending it with a bang like this. So I'm
I think
excited.
so. Jacob, you watched BB26, right? You were here for some of it.
I was here. No, I mean, I watch, I keep up. I'm not as Big Brother 26 was the latest season, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, it's just like, let me be sure. I kept up. I kept up. I did a couple updates. I was tuning into the feeds a couple of times with my Paramount Plus subscription. I just forget to cancel it every time. But so anytime I want to step into it, I do. And can you remind me of the winner, please?
Chelsea.
Yes, Chelsea won. I just saw a TikTok of hers yesterday. Good season. Okay season. I mean, good season. I know people really loved it, and they were like, "Oh, Big Brother, like strategies." But I don't know. To be honest, Big Brother really hasn't gagged the girl in a minute, and that's a whole nother discussion.
Well, that's what that's kind of where the question was coming from, because I feel like over the past couple of seasons, you kind of pop your head in and out, have some fun on a podcast or two, and then you're like, maybe not loving it the most, but I think overall, as we'll get to your wheel in a bit, there's still plenty of Big Brother that I think Jacob Jones, does go up for.
No, there's a ton of. I mean, Big Brother was my show Big Brother was the first show I was like, oh my God, I wanted to be on Big Brother. Like, I wanted like peace in the Middle East. You know what I mean? That's how bad I wanted to be on Big Brother. And I loved reality television. When I turned 21, I was like, oh my gosh, I have to do this. But that, and I hate to talk ish about Big Brother because it's still on. I don't see it going anywhere. And we're here to talk about Big Brother. But a lot of what made me fall in love with Big Brother, I feel like as a culture, and as a media conglomerate, as CBS, as Paramount Plus is, they've kind of moved past it in regards to, and you know what? The cast play the game differently, and they're not as I like my reality stars to be honest, and they don't get me. They don't like. I haven't like, and I feel sad about it. But I do pop my head in because it's a show that I will always kind of love, and my Twitter during that time it's all about Big Brother. So I know about it. I'm still in the realm. I'm still in the streets, but I just don't consume it as much as I once did, which was going from a 200% to a step down from a casual viewer just because I don't watch it weekly. But I feel like I know more than a casual viewer would know by keeping up with the facets that I keep up with.
No, I mean, I agree with you. I think Big Brother, I feel like a lot of us are in a weird sort of like space with it at times because it is a lot different from what it used to be, even in a short amount of time. Like the difference between like a season 17 is vastly different from like 24. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So it's just it's I think that if we just start getting more people that are more willing to take risks again, and if people aren't just so tightly bound by these, I need to absolutely make it to jury or I need to absolutely stay. If we just had more people that have more Tucker energy, we could get our classy Big Brother back again. We could. But I just don't know if that's possible these days.
And
Funny
I
you mention
tuned in
that.
a couple times this past season, and I saw like spurts of it with like just different a little. And I'm not just talking about chaotic drama. I want like a person that I like. I like what you're saying. I like how you handling stuff. I like the confrontations that are happening.
Yeah.
I
And
think
that wasn't Tucker for you?
no, that was not Tucker for me. I'm sorry. Y'all can have Tucker. It was not Tucker for me.
Okay.
And like it wasn't. And I don't know
I
why
would have
y'all
thought it would
giving
have been.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. Cute face.
I mean, but he had his fault. He definitely was trying to leave the game at certain points.
Yeah, definitely
too,
trying to. But you know what? I'm never Tucker's archetype. I'm never fully with, anyways. Even though he was like the what do you call them? Like he came from the bottom, trying to make his way up or whatever.
Underdog.
Yeah, underdog. I just wasn't really rocking him like that. But cute guy. He's funny, but in the game.
What about Angela? Were you?
Oh yeah, I like
enjoying
Angela. I like Angela. Angela's the key. Angela is like what I would say, like a Tiffany, not to the same extent, but like a Tiffany New York Parlor, like always doing the most outlandish
That's
shit.
high praise.
Like, no, very high praise. I think Angela was the star of the season. She won't really reap any of that benefit just because she's not in the age to really reap any of that benefit from a reality television perspective. And her season, like, I mean, I don't want to shit on 26 that but I like Angela. Okay. I like Angela.
But I just find it especially interesting for you and Angela, because you're a big Housewives guy, and I feel like Angela is such a standout personality that you would think probably applied to Housewives of Salt Lake City like 10 times over the past couple of years.
She does live there.
Yeah, so I was like, this feels like a person who, because you could tell she was a Big Brother super fan. I'm living out my dream. I'm on Big freaking Brother. But I still feel like she was probably trying to get on any show, and
is
that
she
had
like
to include
rich
Salt Lake
enough to be a housewife? Feel like
that I
most
couldn't
of
tell
them
you. I
really
mean,
well off.
That I don't know, but I mean, Salt Lake City, yeah, they do have a little bit of money, but I think you can make a way looking lavish in Salt Lake City.
I mean,
easier. They had Monica Garcia on last season, who had her Range Rover under a carport. So you know what I mean.
Imagine her mixing it up with the Salt Lake City women. That would be. They would not be ready.
That would be intense, and I think Angela would lose her mind.
It sounds like a potent mixture of personalities. I don't know about that one.
Yeah, and just wait till you find out about Angela still mixing it up all these weeks later, after the season's over.
What is she?
Wasn't she just on Chelsea's Live? They're still arguing about some bullshit.
Yeah. So I had successfully kind of avoided it. I knew it would pop up at some point, and then I tuned into Corey streaming on Twitch a couple days after it, and I was like, all right, if Corey's gonna break it all down, I'll sit here and listen to it. So he went through a bunch of the tweets, playing the videos back, and it was basically just that Chelsea was on an TikTok live, maybe, or Instagram live, and she had just made a comment, and she said something like, that's just how Angela is. And I don't think it was like the worst, type of setup or anything like that. But I think if I'm relaying this all correctly, and if I'm not, I'm sure you'll let me know in the chat. In the comments, but that like Angela's daughters were listening and told Angela about it. Angela hopped in the live and then started responding to Chelsea, being like, Chelsea, why are you still talking about me this way? I thought we were going to hash it all out and blah, blah, blah. And yeah, still a mess, which is, not that surprising for a Big Brother cast to be a couple months after the season still, hashing it out.
Definitely. I mean, they have to, not they have to, but they're still, they want to keep up with the Joneses. They want to keep, the stuff going and the conversation going about them. And to be honest, when you have a issue with someone and you're not on reality television, they're not on a reality television, you can't really air it out. So I guess it's kind of a part of the the play to do it publicly. Hey, why are you doing this? Instead of like texting, hey, why are you so tired? You know what I mean? Let me hop up on this live and talk to her. We're 100 of people are watching. Go ahead.
I'm glad that people are having fun with the BB26 postseason content. I've kind of been a little checked out of it, but
has it been like what type of content?
Because then we've also gotten like new showmances popped up. Matt and Mackenzie are officially a couple after all is said and done.
I had to block him. I just don't want to see. I don't like couple content. But who else?
And then apparently Leah and Cedric are maybe a thing. Possibly.
And Cedric.
Yeah, I didn't see that one coming at all.
And then there was also like this ridiculous Twitter rumor that showed up, or Blue Sky rumor about Lisa and Quinn.
Oh, I saw that one.
And that was just like I think that was just some account that was like making a joke, and it turned into like much more of a thing.
I did see that, and I scrolled to the comments, and people were like, "When did that happen?"
I know.
And no one had.
It was like 1,000 comments of what, and one comment of like, haha, just got a joke for you guys. So yeah, that's that. But Jacob, what to wind it up or wind it back a little bit, to not talk about BB26, what seasons of Big Brother do speak to you? What seasons of Big Brother do you think of when you think of seasons that you love from this franchise?
So I first started watching Big Brother on my nana's couch, and I remember the exact day, the exact episode, the exact moment, the exact season. So I woke up from a nap. And I woke up from the nap later in the day, so kind of probably my bedtime, but I woke up at the nap because I was staying over there for something, and the first thing I see on the TV is Brittany Haynes in a blue and white plaided dress jumping up because she just won HOH. That was the first thing I ever saw about Big Brother. And then I went back on I rewinded the entire thing, and then I was like, oh my gosh. And I needed to continue watching, and I needed to continue watching like older seasons. So it was this guy on YouTube called at the time Quirky Dude or something like that, and he used to upload all of the Big Brother episodes from like every season on YouTube. And then they had like live feed content as well, like Big Brother 10. So I was like, oh my gosh. I went back and watched not all of the seasons. Well, I tried to watch. I think I watched all of the seasons, but some hit me in different spots. When it was like when Big Brother was on real time, the first season that I watched was season 13. Right after season 12 would make sense. Season 13, season 14, season 15. But then when I went back, I saw season 10. I saw season 7. I then went back and watched season 12. Season 14, I loved. Like I know this may be crazy, but I'm in the spirit of honesty and transparency. I was a like Danielle, Murphree, and Shane. I forgot his last name. Such stan. Their little love thing is
that was your showmance.
To be honest, well, Jojo. I love Jojo.
Yeah.
I loved.
Oh, you loved them. Okay.
I watched their show on CBS when they went across from Chicago to Santa Monica. They had a little web show. It was super cute. But yeah, in that little genre, that's my that little era. That's my.
I was poking around some BB16 today, and speaking of Jeff, they sent him to visit Donnie's family in Big Brother 16 to go talk to Donnie's family and interview them about Donnie, because they always did these family segments, and they still do, to an extent, but they sent Jeff to
I remember that.
So that's what Jeff, was up to for a while before he was let go. So okay, so some of the older seasons, and then you went back is the story there, and then obviously eventually Jacob shows up to get involved in the podcasting, and
then of course in the 20s I know about too, but my passion lives in the teens. Well, in the like 13, 14, 15, you know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, I wonder if we will get any of those players today. I mean, see if we get Brittany Haynes herself, I believe, is still not yet pulled on this wheel.
Oh, we talked about her so much, it feels like she already was pulled.
Wow.
It happens with a lot of people that I'm like, has that person been pulled yet? I don't know. Actually, before we get to the wheel itself, I do want to remind all of us here that we went through the last 5 episodes, or this is the 5th episode, pretty fast, because December we did some bonus episodes. So this is the end of the next stretch of 5, which means a Battleback vote is incoming over on Patreon. If you do not know what that means, every 5 episodes we do a Battleback vote so that one player that's recently been eliminated gets a chance to come back in and get a second chance. Aman, the 12 recently eliminated contestants are not that inspiring. I feel like we need a big name to go out today, because otherwise this vote is going to be wild. You want to hear them back?
Yeah, remind us.
Okay, so recently eliminated from the diary room in the last 4 episodes before this one, we have Big Brother 20's Sam Bledsoe. We have Big Brother 14's Will Huser. I don't know if I said that right. We have Big Brother Celebrity 2's Ricky Williams, BB15, David Girton, Big Brother 8, Amber, BB16, Brittany Martinez, BB18, Zakia, Celebrity Big Brother US 2, Dina Lohan, Willie Hance from Big Brother 14, recently eliminated, Big Brother 11's Russell, Big Brother 15's Jesse, and the most recently eliminated, Big Brother 16's Joey Van Pelt.
Yeah, a lot of these people can stay gone.
You got to sneak on there. You got to want sneak on there.
I mean, I feel like...
Wait, define a sneak. Somebody that shouldn't have been eliminated, or
someone that shouldn't have been eliminated, but I get why they were eliminated because in their season they weren't really that much. But personally, I made picture edits, only one of.
Were you a Zolly?
No, it was, and I don't know why I loved her as much as I did because she really didn't give me anything to really love, but I was a stan for her. Brittany Martinez, and Big Brother 16, I adored her. I thought she was sexy. I thought she was I just liked her. I was like, I want you to win, and the soccer ball. I loved her.
Like I said, I was revisiting 16 a little bit today. Aman, I was mind blown to learn that she was 29 during that season.
Oh yeah, I thought she was in her 30s already at that point. Wow, interesting.
I mean, every time I go back to a season, with Cody in this season in BB16 is 23, Derek is only 30. I'm like, I'm 30. What do you mean?
Wow.
Dan Giesling wins Big Brother at 24. I think it's like, what is going on?
Wow. Yeah. The age gaps in between seasons is always so such a mind fuck to me. I don't know. I feel like I could see some support for Sam maybe coming back into it.
Sam Bledsoe.
Maybe Russell. Some of these people that were a little bit more active with their gameplay. So definitely not, the most interesting of Battlebacks to come, but a little bit of intrigue there.
It depends on who goes out today. If we get an intriguing name today, that could be the new leader in the pack of most likely to get voted back in. Otherwise, it really could be, the first vote that we've had so far with no clear front runners. We've had recent votes that had front runners, multiple. But we'll see how this one goes. So I don't know, Jacob, all right, you said Brittany, so I guess Jacob's support is for Brittany there. Brittany did lose just to give you the full context. Brittany lost to Chelsea.
I mean, okay, obviously. Put her next to anyone else. I'm joking. She probably will still go out.
Next to anyone else she wins. It's just Chelsea. That's the rankings of the players is Chelsea, Brittany, and then, the rest of the wheel. All right. Well, the only way to find out who the other people will be that are eligible for that vote is to bring the wheel up. This is the Jacob Jones wheel of Big Brother players. And don't worry, Jacob, you're not supposed to see anything yet.
Oh, okay. I'm
looking closely. We're going to spin this. We're going to get a name to pop up, and we're going to talk about whoever does. So without further ado, let's do it.
Let it rip, baby. Let it rip.
That's so many names.
Quite a lot of names left. First player up here today to discuss with Jacob Jones is...
I'm nervous.
Matt Hoffman.
A good first person.
That's not a bad start to the day.
I like that.
This was your first season too, right?
My first season, my very first season. Oh my gosh.
Oh, it was Matt Hoffman sandwiched here between Carol Journey and Derek X. For those wondering,
Carol, stay home.
Who might have shown up here? All right, Matt Hoffman is going to kick us off today, and I mean, before we get into it, let's Aman, you have the notes up?
Yes, I do. Okay. Alrighty, Matt, The self-appointed leader of the Brigade Alliance, Matt, was often targeted because of his wit and strong strategic abilities. On day 35, Matt opened Pandora's box and was granted the Diamond POV. In week 7, he was nominated and ultimately evicted in a unanimous 4-0 vote, placing 7th. During his stay in the house, he lied about his wife having a serious illness to try and get sympathy from other house guests in an attempt to move him further in the game. Once he was in the jury house, he finally let all the jurors know that his wife was perfectly healthy, which sparked outrage.
All right, Jacob, I saw a big reaction in you when Matt's name came up.
Yeah, I mean, one of the stars of Big Brother 12. No, yeah, 12,
yes.
right? Big Brother 12.
Mm-hmm.
One of the stars of Big Brother 12. He came in from kind of day one. I feel like he was always mischievous. He had a lying story about his wife having an illness. He came playing and wanting to play dirty. And I feel like week to week, Matt was always doing something. And he was the head of the brigade. And he, to be honest, for me, even though he was playing the field and stuff like that, they cut him, and I feel like he got done dirty. Justice for Matt. I've always thought Matt should have came back for an all-star version or something, some other type of version than that. He was a star of season 12, played, to be honest, a very dynamic, visible game that, like, I'm proud to call him my first season star.
Okay.
And yeah, Matt, he provided content for the television show constantly. His like hyper intensity, his like sketchy kind of vibes, his strategic mind, his pairing with Reagan. A star of Big Brother 12, simply put.
Yeah, Aman, to me, one of the things that I was thinking recently upon revisiting Matt playing Big Brother was, did he like watch all the Will Kirby tape before he showed up and said, let me be chaotic? It looks fun on Big Brother.
Yeah.
It certainly kind of felt that way. He was very much into wanting to play the smarmy, shady guy. And that's fine. We need those types of personalities on Big Brother. And I've always felt like with Matt, yes, you could tell that he was there to have fun, but it did feel like genuinely like it was him. Like I didn't feel like he was forcing anything with the antics that he had going on. But you know, I think that he does have the tendency to overplay that character a bit, and that's the reason why he's the first of the brigade to get ousted. I think that he obviously, you know, helped form one of the best, I guess, like technically what the second best alliance of all time. And you know, he's going to constantly be in conversation as someone who effectively changed the game. So I think that that's a nice legacy to have. When it came to BB12 in particular, I think that he had a really good mind for the game. I do. I just think that he was just a bit too evil for his own good. And that's what got him out of it.
When I think of what could have gone better for his game, I mean, the obvious is he gets turned on by the brigade. They convince Brittany on her HOH to go after Matt. And it's the group was like Matt, Reagan, and Brittany that you thought might have been like a secret pocket of the house. Not a secret, but like another pocket of the house that could have, if they somehow came together, if they won power in the right spots, could have done something about the other members of the brigade. That obviously Matt having those two people in his corner would have been great to take a shot at an Enzo, at a Hayden, at a Lane. But the other guys got their shot in first. And Matt just, I think, from my memory, I feel like he got a little sloppy. And I don't think anyone's kind of disputing that with what, you know, you guys were saying about his game. I feel like he throws Reagan under the bus at a certain point when he is like, I got to save myself. I got to throw Reagan out there because he's the only viable option at this point that I can throw under the bus, which of course is going to ruin his relationship with Reagan, makes Brittany feel like she can't trust Matt anymore. And then, you know, in the tug of war for Brittany Haynes' loyalty, maybe she gets played a little bit, and maybe also there's reason that Matt kind of pushes her away. And that's why what ends up happening there. But I still think he's a very, very intelligent guy. He knows the game very well. And I would still trust him in most seasons of Big Brother, but this one was sloppy. at times.
He was also a little cocky too at certain spots strategically. He's kind of like a strategic. You know how we have like athlete jerks and then we have like brainiac like jerks. I feel like he was more on the side of like the brainiac jerkish kind of type at certain moments when he did have power, but still just like a fun and funny guy. I remember him putting on the red extensions with the cop hat when Rachel was coming up the HOH room. And so he just did a lot. And I feel like he also his personality, like towards the end, it kind of got off, especially with some of his shady moves. But for the beginning, I feel like he made a lot of social connections. And even though those people on paper will be vastly different, him and the brigade and the other 3 individuals from the brigade are vastly different, but he made it work by being kind of how he is and by merging in between the I'm about to say the jerks, but the jocks and whatnot. So I don't know. Hats still very high on Matt.
Critical error in using the diamond power veto on Kathy, especially when he knew that the brigade was starting to sour on him and wanted to get his ass out of there. So I think that was he could have at least tried to get one of them out as opposed to using it on Kathy of all people.
Well,
I know that a lot of people are like, well, no, he was trying to get back in good with them and he wanted to, maintain the power structure because without the brigade, who does he have? Yeah, well, he doesn't have the brigade anymore. That's the whole point. So yeah, it's I do think that was like his biggest mistake probably.
Yeah, and I feel like I give him credit earlier in the season when Brendan and Rachel are like the big house targets when he wins an HOH and doesn't go after them right away. I don't know if he would have if Brendan didn't win the veto in that week the first week Matt's HOH, because he takes out Andrew that week. Another somewhat recently eliminated player here. And I don't know, I just like remember thinking that made sense where everyone's going to go after Brendan and Rachel, and whichever one of them stays is probably going to go directly after the person that took, the other one out. So kind of kept himself out of the line of fire there while still feeling pretty justified in his reasons for going after Andrew. And Andrew was still such a bad player that it, was like, all right, well, we all want Brendan and Rachel out, but it makes sense why Matt wants this other guy out. So I think he kind of got away with it then, and then eventually he gets Brendan out.
Also a very I don't know if very is the right word, but a very like selfish player, self-interested player. I mean, obviously bringing in a lie about your wife having an illness to gain sympathy and kind of favor among the house obviously breeds selfish intent. And like, everyone, please have pity on me because of my situation. Hopefully that will allow me some levity to continue on in this game. But that's also, it plays into, I think, why he just didn't make it outside of the time that he made it in, especially when him and Reagan were against each other, throwing Reagan under the bus. He was very, very quick to do that, which in a lot of aspects I applaud, and I kind of want more recent people to be like that. But he maybe was like that a hair too much.
Yeah.
The segments of him getting to jury and talking to Reagan and admitting to everybody at jury that he admits to, about his fake story about his wife. Oof, I don't know how those people got over that. It was not well received.
I mean, I could be a little bit of, unpopular opinion here, but I really wasn't that mad about him doing that. Like now, look, like
I think it's one thing to watch it from on TV and also to like have someone tell you that, confide in you.
But I have to imagine that if I'm in the house and someone were to tell me something like that and then immediately cop to it, I feel like I would be like, that's kind of effed up. You're gonna have to deal with that. Like mentally, you have to deal with that. But like that isn't like good on you, I guess. Like I don't know. Like I'm a fan of like manipulative gameplay sometimes. So I don't begrudge anybody who tries to come in with a bit of an edge. What makes it more palatable for me with Matt is because of the fact that as soon as it was over, he was like, okay, I'm gonna come clean. I need people to understand that like we're good. My wife is good, and I apologize for doing that. But like, it was a decision that I made, and he was very self-aware about it. So I think it'd be one thing for him to not say anything or to act like it wasn't a big deal. I think that he approached each apology with the levity of like, yeah, like I know that this might, you might feel some type of way about me, and I completely understand if you do. But that's the decision that I made.
I mean, and To me, I agree with you, Amon. I never really thought about it. I never really thought I loved manipulative gameplay. I just never thought about like that's something that I love, but it really is. It brings kind of juice and more angst to the situation.
Yes.
Um,
I think that there
yeah.
are some lies that go a little too far. Like, right? Like, I'm not saying that, like, he should be out here saying that his whole family was killed in a car accident and he's all like, that might be a little too crazy. But just
But what's too
skip a little
far
bit.
in the name of
That's a good question.
$500,000
Yeah.
that he gets to take home to his family?
A lot
You
of
know what I
people have
mean?
pushed that line over the years and continue to in some capacities. And the line sometimes doesn't exist in Big Brother. So, and
I
especially in
think I
modern
would make
seasons.
up. You know what I would do? I would make up a family member. I would claim to
Well,
have
okay.
a brother that I did not, and say
A
that
little
that
loophole.
brother was doing something. Because that way, I'm not really lying about my real family. I'm just, creating a story here.
In modern seasons, if Matt pulled this off and got to the end, gets to final 2 and somehow it gets revealed before the vote, like, does that turn voters away from him much more than it would back then? Or is it maybe the same that it would back then?
Wait, are you saying about
They
the
were
latest
pissed.
Matt?
No, like if Matt Hoffman did what he did in BB12,
If he made it to final 2
Oh, yeah,
and
it
then he
turns him off
decided
now.
to
It
come
turns
clean,
him off.
decided to come clean for some reason before the vote, or it got out somehow before the vote, and people on the jury, people like the third placer goes out and just found out that Matt lied about this. Like, are they
I think
like,
it
I'm never
really
voting for him?
depends on who's sitting next to him.
Right.
It's true.
Because I feel like there might be people that are like pissed about it, obviously, but if Matt played a better game on top of that,
or you're just in
like,
such shock, hearing the news, and then you're like Turner in the BB24 finale of like, what are we doing? Who are we voting for? Okay, and who knows?
I don't know. Interesting to think
Well,
about.
yeah. All right, let's pull the wheel up and find Matt an opponent, because when you start with a name like Matt Hoffman, it gets you nervous for what's to come next.
I know. It's gonna be
Jacob, what are you doing over there?
We want to pair up.
Oh, I'm like, what's gonna happen?
Matt's a strong opponent, though. He really is.
He is. I feel like no matter what, it's going to be an interesting matchup.
Up next is going to be. Oh, it was almost Reagan.
That would have been insane.
Oh, good lord.
Derek Frazier.
All right. I could just leave the wheel up and we could just.
This is actually really funny because you have the creator of the brigade versus the self-proclaimed creator.
Top 2 alliances of all time.
Oh boy. Oh freaking boy. All righty.
The cookout versus the brigade.
I'm gonna give Big D some credit.
That's nice of you.
On the fact that he made it to final 2. Making it to final 2 with no HOHs, no vetoes, off of the backs of a group that, and if we could, say a group of select members that really had on mind, took him up there. He made it to day 2. That's the only kind of credit that like I can see in giving him. He made it to final 2.
Yeah, he did.
Is Derek going to be a contender to get voted back in?
No. But also, I don't know the demographics of y'all's patrons, but if they're like if they are, how about say like the Twitter, like the Twitter girls, absolutely not. But if they just kind of watch the season and kind of consume y'all's content, then maybe. But he gets no love over there.
Yeah,
but he made it to final 2, guys.
Let's talk about him. Amon, what do we have notes wise on Derek from the BB Wikia?
Derek F. Derek became tight with teammates Azza and Brittany. He and Azza became part of the cookout, though he had his heart set on the guys making deals with Xavier and Kyland. With no +1 as part of the master plan, he operated in service to the cookout. He began to grow resentful and argumentative with the women of the cookout. He and Tiffany often butted heads, and he was growing unhappy with Azza, telling her to her face that he had carried her. Despite all this, Derek entered finale night thinking he had a decent shot at the money with a game he claimed was built on executing every plan he created. The jury, this entry's a little shady. The jury laughed at his responses, and he lost to Xavier unanimously.
Yeah.
That was a brutal tribute.
Let's Chatter recently came up, and we were talking about how of course for Tiffany, when we get to that final six, the relationships between the other four just had gotten had all they'd come together and kind of silently or outwardly agreed Tiffany was going to be the first one to go, and when Azah wins that HOH, Chada's out next. For Derek, so the game starts at final six, in this season, in a different kind of way. They do obviously so much incredible work to get themselves to the final six, and Derek does some good stuff along the way. He has some good relationships along the way, like no mistaking in that. It's just that once you get down to the end game and you see the position he's in, looking around, like he's probably not beating anybody left here. I think of the cookout, he's probably 6 out of 6 in terms of likelihood to win. But you still hear him explaining how he's planning to pitch and then what he ultimately does pitch in the final two. And he takes credit for so many things that were not him. And that's what just makes, I think, so many people have a hard time taking him seriously as a player. Because again, there is good stuff you could point to, but he doesn't point to that stuff. He points to everything else.
Yeah, and I think, I killed it. I had a gnat running around. I have a new plant here, and I just killed it. But I do think that he had some good things about him, and I know he had a bunch of kind of confrontations and issues with the ladies of the cookout, but in some way he was always able to kind of rectify those in a roundabout way through talking, through just being kind of goofy and silly, and just by being him. Which I think him being him also led to a lot of downward spirals in his game, but I think it kind of helped him out in a lot of ways too. I just don't know any kind of like strategic moment that he had other than just his social, I guess, currency in the house.
Yeah, I think. I mean, a lot of us like to talk about how he's delusional and that he thinks that he was doing all of these inner workings and stuff like that. And to his credit, I mean, I think obviously having the cookout was a great help to his game. It allowed him to sort of, just focus, like the blurb said, focus on keeping everyone in the cookout together. I feel like that's why he felt so justified in saying, oh, well, I carried Azah, or I carried the girls, because he felt like he was doing so much of the corralling of the group. Right. Yeah. But you were the cause of a lot of the strife within the cookout. So you can't really create a mess, try to help clean up the mess, and then get credit for cleaning up the mess that you started. Yeah. So it's just a lot of just like circuitous logic when it comes to Derek that, isn't always fun to watch. And I think when you compare his game to that of his fellow Alliance members, so many of them were doing so much more than what you were doing. And I did like the fact that he and Azah did try to bring it to Tiffany when Tiffany really did seem to be, she's like the whole thing with Christian that week, where she didn't she wanted to be able to save Christian, but she knew it wasn't going to happen because of the cookout. And so she didn't want to be the one that was lying to him and making it harder for her. But then but Azah and Derek were like, well, we don't like, why are you forcing our hand? Why are you forcing us to have to actually come clean about this? That's not fair to us either. And I like the fact that the two of them were so united in that, because that showed that it was like, well, like, I'm not going to sit here and just do nothing. But at the same time, 90% of Derek's game was a lot of complaining about his alliance and then getting to the end because of it. And I don't know. I feel like he gets a lot of hate, so I don't want to like contribute to that. But I do feel like, I mean, yeah, your game was okay. Like, you were a part of the most successful alliance of all time, but how much of that was because of you? I don't think that's.
Yeah, and I mean, it also did not help for any fans watching, besides all the gameplay, for the way that he was talking to and about the women at the end of the game, some of the words that he was using to describe them, to say to their face and whatnot, and, claimed that it was okay that he was saying some of those things because X, Y, and Z reasons. Didn't do a lot to earn goodwill with the fans. And look, I mean, as far as the post show goes, he has made friends with, as far as I can tell, like so many reality people. All of his cookout partners and friends and everything, it seems like they are all good. So amends have been made across the board, which I'm obviously glad about. Like, great, apologies were made, I'm sure, from all sides of things, and they move forward. But as far as the game is concerned, what are we doing? It's just he was a part of this monumental group, this this alliance that made it all the way to the end of the game, that just did something so historic, so incredible.
And in his defense, his alliance members do support him, saying that he started the cookout. So, I guess we can't give that to him.
Shooting a note.
So, there's that. There is his legacy. He started the cookout.
The assembly of the cookout.
Yeah.
it's the what really ultimately drags it all the way down to, like, the bottom tier of Big Brother players for me is the way that he loses everything with Azah at the end game, because it's like, that did not need to happen. It just did not need to happen. Like, Azah should not have been in a final 3 scenario basically saying that she would be happy to take Xavier, knowing that she would lose to Xavier, rather than taking her ride or die from the entire game, because he couldn't let his ego get out of the way to stop telling her to her face that he carried her throughout the game. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah. I forget. You know what, Matt? It's so funny you bring that up, because I remember watching that, and it was kind of out of nowhere as well, because Brittany, I mean, Azah and Dara were kind of like a twosome in their little team with Brittany. And then when she leaves, it's just kind of mayhem in between that. I mean, it was still little stuff happening, but in a sense, he kind of had Azah's back, especially at the beginning, especially at that point. But just to tell an ally, yo, you didn't do anything and I was there, and then now her being mad at you going into finale night was horrible.
And you're mad at her because, like, she wants to take Xavier to the end, but you had all these deals that were outside of her too. Like, it was just, again, like, the dude gets so much hate, so I'm like trying to tread carefully. And I do think that they're, due to his size, there were a lot of comps that were just never going to work for him, which isn't necessarily fair. And we know that he's been, he's wanted to continue his reality TV career by trying to get onto the challenge. We know that, the politicking over there can probably be a little bit discriminatory. So I feel for him in that regard, that, there are a few things that I think that he gets a lot of flack for that aren't necessarily his fault. But at the end of the day, I do think that, like, where he believes his game to be is just not exactly where everyone else believes his game to be. And that's just going to be the war that we continue to fight, I guess.
It's going to be the war that doesn't die down.
Yeah.
Jacob Jones, Matt Hoffman, or Derek F? DF, Derek Frazier. Who is the who do you want to evict from the bracket here?
Oh, who do I want to evict? Oh, we have to evict Derek F. Like, I mean, it makes no sense for us to evict Matt at all. Like, Derek F is the obvious choice.
Come on, you want to
I'm conflicted because
what?
So let me let everybody know, Jacob hasn't watched a ton of the podcast, which is totally fine. But if he had, he would know that Amon does this every matchup.
Well, I don't. Okay. I'm thinking about Matt's game, right? Creates the brigade, even comes up with the strategy of the parachute alliances, all that stuff. Lots of unnecessary lies and stuff. Absolute horrendous use of a diamond power veto that could have bought him a little bit more time in the game if he had just turned on the brigade before they turned on him. And he knew that they were coming after him. So that's the thing that, like, really drives that error home for me, is that you knew you were in danger and you had a diamond power of veto and you don't take that shot. Is that more of a fumble than Derek F essentially just having a warped view of his game? But still, it's a game that got him to the end. He's in second place. He's the runner-up.
Is the point to get to the end, or is the point to win?
Derek F came a lot closer than Matt Hoffman ever did. So I'm kind of like,
well, then we may as well just pass through every runner-up and winner to the next round.
I know,
but
right?
I'm talking about like, I don't know how many bad moves that DF made. Aside, like socially, there was a lot of bad stuff. But the same thing can be said for Matt, because the
Matt
whole
was
lie and everything.
Matt was making moves, and sometimes, the moves were bad. They didn't always pan out the right way, but he wasn't actively going to his allies, making them feel like crap, and then still expecting
he kind
there to
of
be a
did
friendship
in the
there.
jury house.
In the jury house. I mean, look, you can do whatever you want, as always, but this is
wild, Amon.
This is even more of
I don't like. Maybe I'm completely off base, but like Matt Hoffman's game is not giving me leagues better than DF. It's not.
Okay, if it's
just
not leagues, at least it's better. We can still say it's better at some point. He was an active player
by
in
his
his
own
season.
alliance. Like,
which, I mean, you don't know how the cookout might have shaken out if they did not have the goal of truly Final Six in the way that the Brigade obviously did not. Like they, more of a purpose, obviously, in one case than the other. But hey, vote your heart.
I'm voting to evict Matt Hoffman.
Jacob.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
the troll.
See, what I'm going to be doing here is voting to evict DF, which would put Matt Hoffman at a 2-1 vote. But I just need to remind everybody that patron votes exist. And if this little card here that I have, Jacob, has a vote for Derek Frazier on it, the tie goes to the patron, and Derek Frazier is going to be moving on to the next round if there is a vote for DF here. That's how
wait. So if you have a name with the player, if you have DF's name in there, then
it means that a patron voted for DF. That's a tier we have on Patreon that you can contribute one patron per player. And if there's a vote here for DF is going through and Matt Hoffman is staying behind.
No, there's not a vote in there for DF.
There is a vote for Matt Hoffman.
Of course.
Matt Hoffman is going to win this matchup by a vote of 3-1. Shout out to Ben, who cast a vote for Matt Hoffman. I believe one of the earlier votes that made their way in.
Come on, Ben.
And turns out it actually might have been a good, worthwhile vote, a really worthwhile vote here, because one of me or Jacob voting the other way.
That would have been maddening. What would have happened?
I don't know, y'all. I just feel like, because another thing that we like to think about when it comes to these matchups is repeatability of game. And I think that Derek's literally laying down in the daybed strategy when it gets you further in the game more so than Matt Hoffman's smarmy gameplay. I think Matt Hoffman ends up in hot water way more times than DF ever does. And that to me does not make that means that you are the weaker player. If you are in hot water because of your own actions, you're the weaker player. And I don't think that, yes, when you think about the cookout, that saved DF a lot of the time because they were there for a purpose. But I don't think that DF is putting himself in the position to make as many mistakes as Matt does because he quite literally plays dead. Matt Hoffman doesn't play dead.
What about DF's ability to make his fellow alliance members disdain of him while the game is happening? And I guess Matt did. I mean, he had Brittany turn on him. He had his hoe, but
it wasn't the same. It wasn't talking to them in a demeaning way. It wasn't talking to them in a way that made them feel like dirt, like they did nothing in the game. It was turning on Reagan and Brittany or at least turning on Reagan for game reasons, saying, if I don't throw you under the bus, I'm going to be the one that goes home. And Reagan was, of course, understandably upset, but it wasn't, you've done nothing in this game. You're a this, you're a that, insert words that aren't very nice. If I understand what you're saying about Matt didn't make it to the end, but if Matt does make it to the end, I think he's getting jury votes.
He has a resume.
He does downplay the intelligence of his alliance members a lot of the time in the DR. Like, is he saying it to their face? No, but he gladly will tell you that he'll take it.
It's the DR.
But I just wanted to be known that it's these two their games are more similar than they are not to me. And I think that one's game gets you further more so than the other one's does. And that's sort of like what it comes down to for me.
I feel like it's
I
what
don't
you
think
value
Derek,
more in a game player then.
Sorry, what was that, Jacob?
I feel like it's what you value more in a game player. You know, everyone has their own perspective on like what's a winning game.
I could be completely maybe, you know, some of that big delusional is rubbing off on me, but I just
his missed.
If anybody in the comments agrees with me, please let me know, because I don't think that what I'm saying is crazy. I
can't see DF ever winning a jury vote ever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see that.
I think he's a social guy, but in a 90-day season where, you know,
but I don't see Matt getting to finale night. That's my point. Matt does not ever get to finale night.
I feel like
I don't think he's that as bad as you're making it sound. I think he was amped up in a big way. And again, I honestly feel like maybe there was some influence from like a Will or a Dan of just like watching this wow as a gameplay in, you know, the couple of years prior to him. I think if that wasn't the case and he just came in with the natural knowledge that he has and being capable as I think he is, I think he's fine. But we can leave that there for now and revisit it. We're going to revisit DF in the discussion for either the losers bracket or the Battleback vote. We'll figure out how those go. But for now, let's get to another matchup, shall we? Good back and forth, though. We haven't had a true debate in a while, so we'll take it. Let's spin the wheel.
Yeah, I'm either going to get roasted alive in the comments or people are going to...
You know, it's only one or the other. Rational, thought out, you know, maybe somewhere in between. All right, the next player up here, no freaking way.
Who's
No, it's Danielle Murphree. It was almost Evan Shepard, and that would have been such a funny name to go to next. But Jacob, half of your favorite showmans.
So. But did I say that on the stream or when we were talking?
You said that on camera, yeah.
Oh, I said that on camera?
I think so.
I give Danielle a lot of credit when a lot of people shit on her, call her crazy, call her a compulsive liar. I think Danielle Murphree, I think she got led by an amazing shepherd. Oh, well, should we go through her stats first? Should Amon go through her stats first? I love you, Dan. Well, I don't know. I don't love you, but let's hear about your resume before I get.
Be careful, because apparently she's. I won't talk about that. Anyway, Danielle is remembered for her showmance with being a loyal member of the dominant The Quack Pack Alliance and being used and tricked by her coach Dan many times, including tricking her into getting her own showmance evicted. Ultimately, Danielle was evicted later, or after Ian cast the sole vote to evict her, placing third.
All right. Back to you, Jacob, on Danielle.
Okay. All right, Danielle, I liked you on Big Brother 14. But so Danielle came into the house and she was already on the losing squad with being under Dan. But to be honest, when you find a good thing, hold on to that good thing. And a lot of what carried her through the game was being mentored and being led by Dan, her social connections to Brittany, her Quack Pack installation, and her showmance with Shane, who was a beast at comms. Outside of that, Danielle really didn't have that much pull, but she had pull with the mainstays of the game other than Frank. And I think she won competitions. She didn't move independently, so I really can't give her that. But she played a good game. And especially for who she is and how many comps she won, I think she's third place. She was never going to win because at a certain point you saw how the jury felt about her. But her game was good while it was still in the game.
Nobody has ever needed, you know, the Big Brother therapist more after the season has ended, really, than Danielle. And you know, I'm not joking. It's just the things that she went through in there with Dan are just some, you know, mental warfare that he was prepared to play. And I'm sure he has spent, you know, months and years since the season apologizing. And I don't know where they stand today. I'm sure they're fine, but it's just incredible. I agree with you, Jacob, that I think that there is plenty of good in Danielle's game. I think that honestly, there's not I feel like it's not too far off to say that Danielle being a decent player is what keeps Dan alive in the game, as long as he was in the early part of the game when she ends up as Dan's final player. If it was anyone other than Danielle, who is very good socially, is working with Shane, kind of showmancing with Shane eventually, and like you mentioned, working with Brittany, like ends up just kind of like naturally aligning with some of the other newbies. I don't know. Maybe they do try to actually get Dan out a little bit earlier if it was like some, bad player. But she's good. She's, for the time that all is working. Of course, when you get down to it and you get down to the funeral, you get down to the final four eviction, you get down to even just, the surprise that comes being evicted in third place. It's just, the season's like going on this nice little like uphill for her as far as she can tell. And then just comes to these most incredible crashing halts that I'm sure she has not watched an episode of Big Brother since.
Yeah.
Who can say?
She reminds me, like her role in the game reminds me so much. I forget that girl's name. Boston Rob's lapdog in Redemption Island. What was her name?
Oh,
Natalie.
Yes.
It just reminded me so much of that. It was whatever Dan says, it happens that way. Like she gets all of her pointers from Dan. She gets all of her critiques from Dan. It's just Dan this, Dan that, with a splash of Shane. Her game's very vapid. She also was a pathological liar, apparently. She was kind of like, people are comparing her a lot to Raven. Just didn't really have any path to the ending to get to win. Just not a very self-interested player.
I think it was tough for her and Shane. They both had a coach that was just very in their ear when you have Dan and Brittany that are obviously working together at a certain point, realizing that they can use their cute little pieces that are in love and say, all four of us can go on, and then Ian and the Quack Pack and whatnot. So it all made sense. Like the formula was there for relative success as a group, but when you really break it all down, I mean, if Danielle was a stronger minded player, or Shane, honestly, for that, they would have noticed who they were playing with, not just Dan and Brittany, these players that are obviously using them for their own advantage, but also Ian, who of course ends up just being such a strong player, winning the season. They might have opted to make other moves again if they had been a little bit more aware along the way, but there's worse players than Danielle Murphree.
Yeah, and I feel like they may have been inclined to make other decisions, but to be honest, I can't see a world where Danielle plays without someone being there for her. I don't think she makes it to third place by not being kind of led in different ways. Yes, she helped Dan out a lot. I think her social currency with Shane, with Brittany, with Gen City. But to be honest, those were Shane, Brittany, Gen City. Who else did, like Danielle? Now I'm kind of tearing you down a little bit, Danielle. Now I actually think about it, but like that's the only really people who she had, and she had comp wins, and she had installation of an alliance. But kind of other than that, I don't really see her doing her.
I mean, she's playing with Dan Giesling, right? So you obviously have to start there. You have to start with the way that she gets manipulated and the times that she gets manipulated. The funeral is one thing of just like, Danielle, you're dead to me. I'll never, in this game, you're dead to me. I never want to talk to you again. Whatever he says there.
What did I do, Dan?
And eventually, after she like is able to somehow clear the fog in her brain when he tells her, he was just like, oh, LOL JK. I needed that authentic reaction. She's back on board eventually. But then when it happens at Final Four and she and Shane, but she especially gets completely snowed again, she watches Dan stand up there and evict Shane, and she's just again left mouth wide open. It's just like, man, how did we let that happen again? And again, it's Dan. It is Dan Giesling. But it's tough.
It does say something where, like, do I think she could have ever won, especially seeing what the jury thought of her after she was eliminated and on finale night? Because they didn't think shit of her. Like, Brittany was like, Danielle, she didn't even F with Danielle. Shane still F with Danielle, but the jury was kind of against Danielle. But I also think it is something of just sitting, listening, shutting the hell up, and doing as you're told.
Yeah, I mean, it got her to third place.
Got her to third place. I mean, but if the goal is to win, as Matt iterated last time, I guess that really doesn't make a difference, huh?
Yeah, I don't think she obviously doesn't beat Dan. She wouldn't beat Shane. She wouldn't beat Ian. There's very few paths for her to actually win.
Jen, City, and Joe.
Any world she beats Ian? I mean, Ian evicts her, thinking that she's a bigger jury threat, right? So, I mean, she would have had Shane. She probably would have had Brittany.
I think she beats Jen City and Joe in the jury.
Does she have the support of any of the other newbies out there? I don't know. I mean, I would say not as likely. Just my guess is that I would think Ian still beats her, but
Ian beats her.
He's feeling his better chances still against Dan. I don't know, just like the Dan and Danielle dynamic, also the coach to player dynamic that was going on between the two of them, where Dan spent the entire season, even after the coach's twist ends, hyping her up, saying, I am going to coach us to get to the end and you to get the win. I already got my win, but I'm here. I signed up to be here as a coach, and I'm going to coach you all the way to the end. Muted him on, just so you know. But that is the dynamic between the two of them, and it's hard for her to ever not
break away from it. She never breaks away from it. I don't think she never breaks away from it. And I know another big personality from that season was Frank, and I'm trying to see, did she have even any social currency with Frank? And I don't really believe that she did. And I think you said something very interesting at the beginning, Matt, was if Kara or Jody were to be Dan's final player, would he have even made it? And I don't think that answer would be yes in a way. Maybe I don't see it with Jody, just because I feel like Danielle was able to get into social connections that I just don't see Jody getting into. But who am I to say, because I've never seen it. And same to Kara. But I did like Kara better. I wanted out of the two of them, I did want Kara to stay when it happened, but everything works out.
Yeah, I think for sure Danielle was his best bet going forward, which obviously, even just being results oriented proved to be the case. But Aman, anything final on Danielle before we spin again?
Nope.
All right. Well, we'll see if Danielle can, fare on her own here without any guidance. And
I feel like we still have a lot of strong people, but it wouldn't take much to knock her out.
Yeah. I don't think so. Yeah.
Do you think Dan is on the wheel, by the way? And there's not, we've had bigger wheels. I'm just saying. Oh my God, it's Dan Giesling. No, I'm just kidding. Oh God, what the hell? This is the banana suit, Casey Turner.
Casey Turner in the banana suit.
BB
the DJ, right? Yeah, he was the DJ.
Yeah, right.
Big Brother 11 didn't really do shit.
Casey Turner.
Is he? Oh, he is Big Brother 11. I keep forgetting about him because he leaves so early.
Yeah. 11th place, Big Brother 11, Casey Turner. Okay.
All right. Well.
All right, Aman, what do we have on Casey?
Casey, despite Casey's middle position in the house during the first week, Casey would become a large target in the house after being blindsided by the first vote after Ronnie flipped. After Jesse won HOH in week 3, he nominated Casey for their lack of connection, and after failing to win the POV, Casey was evicted by a vote of 7-1, placing 11th.
Yeah, I remember Casey, and he was from Jersey or Brooklyn or Philly or I feel like one of those based off his accent. And I remember he was on the side of Jeff Schroeder, and Jordan, and I think Redacted Braden and Michelle.
Laura.
And so, but he really didn't have any type of control in the game to really do anything. And so I think this one is a layup.
Yeah. I'm checking my notes here. So yeah, Jesse nominated him in week 3. He was an easy pawn, but he had plans to backdoor Ronnie, friendly with Jeff and Jordan's side of the house, but
throw that veto too.
I think he did.
Does he? Yeah,
I'm pretty sure he threw the veto.
He was
And
also very reactive, where like I know he got
Yes.
into like a couple of arguments. I feel like it was with Ronnie calling him a rat and things like that.
Yeah,
But
and there was a
for the
point where the entire house sent Ronnie to give Casey a hug, and he felt like they were all laughing at him, and he wasn't part of the joke. And he was like, "Why are you sending this rat to come hug me? I want no part in it." So I wouldn't say he was the most like social guy in the house, the most charming guy in the house. The people were pranking him and getting bad reactions out of him. It was just not a match made in Big Brother heaven when it comes to good gameplay, I guess, in the long run.
He was a teacher and a DJ.
Yeah,
I believe.
I think it
I
looks like
remember
he
that
was from Florida, not from anywhere in the tri-state area.
Huh.
Yeah, it seems like one of those cases where like
cases
good.
Ah.
Where like the game doesn't go your way, so you sort of just give up and you just say, oh well, it was kind of like the what's his face's response. What is that guy's name from BB24? He was like, just end the season already. Oh my god. It just felt like,
who was that?
As soon as he was on the outs, it was like, all right, I'm gonna just throw my hands up and just take my ball and go home.
He had a very salty exit as well. He yells at Jesse on the way out because Jesse broke his word, and then you get Natalie running in to defend Jesse, being like, "Well, you're the reason you're going home.
That's why you're going out that door right now."
So
Natalie was so annoying. I was so pleased to watch her lose.
Natalie was so annoying.
She was so annoying.
No, he wasn't very happy being evicted there again. I think the whole plan was that Ronnie was supposed to be backdoored, and when that ultimately doesn't happen, because in the same kind of way that I think when I was giving Matt credit earlier for not getting rid of Brendan and Rachel right away, I think is kind of what Jesse had in his mind to not evict Ronnie in that week, because again, anybody's going to get Ronnie out next week. So let's get rid of this other guy who I have no connection to. He's on the other side of the house, and if he won, he's probably going to come after me and my allies. So bye, DJ Casey.
DJ Casey,
I'm looking for his eviction right now, so I can. Doesn't he call Natalie's like, "What are you? His like little chihuahua, his little lapdog or something?"
Right. It gets kind of tense.
It does get heated.
But yeah,
11 next after 17 from my rewatch.
Look, his allies do go on to be successful in the game. One of his people. Not that they were his people. He was more of their people, I guess, of being on Jeff Jordan's side. But Jordan goes on to win, and Casey gets evicted. Does he get evicted in the banana suit, or I don't remember?
I think he does.
Yeah,
he does.
That makes it even worse.
And he was on the offbeat tribe, I believe. Too. He was an offbeat.
Was he?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, Jacob, you said this might be a slam dunk.
Yeah, I think Danielle. I think there's a lot of people that could have beat her, and I think she got lucky tonight. I think she got very lucky by getting Casey Turner, the banana suit DJ, who was confrontational, didn't have control. We didn't really see him doing or providing anything really, but he wasn't really in a place to. He didn't run comps at that time. I don't think his side was advantageous with winning comps anyways, and he should have talked to more people. So Danielle made it to final 3, and she made moves. Yes, she was being led, but to be honest, I would rather be led by Dan Giesling than to be in play as a game as Casey did. So evicting Casey.
Yeah, I can't imagine how it goes much better for Casey. In what we saw of him, I mean, again, I just keep thinking back to the moments where the whole house again had Ronnie running up to him for the hugs, and he's just like, oh, we're supposed to be making fun of Ronnie. Why is everybody like making fun of me by having Ronnie hug me? I don't want to be a part of this. Like, this guy's a rat. Get him away from me. It's like, well, maybe if he laughed at himself in a moment like that, that would give you a little bit more of an indication that he could play ball with everybody and, be a part of a stupid moment in the house. But he was just, I think, a little too tense, a little too serious, even though he was in a banana suit and he was a DJ and all the above.
But to be honest, if that other side was doing that other side has some like pretty annoying people like Lydia, Natalie.
It was a tough house to live in.
Like, it was a tough house to be in. And
he got out good. Like, he got out nice and early without having to live any more days in there. It's not what he wanted, but he might have been the winner there.
Yeah.
All right, but yeah, I will cast the second vote. I said a vote. Whoa. The spirit of Derek Frazier is here with us. I cast a vote to evict Casey, which puts us at 2 votes for Danielle, Murphree, Amon. If there's a patron vote and you vote for Casey, Casey's going through.
I am also going to vote to evict Casey and
All
send
right,
Danielle through.
I guess shout out to Casey for noticing that we were running long with a couple picks still to go, and he said, "All right, well, I have nothing to talk about for you. For myself, you guys can pull me. Great, cool." So back to the wheel for one last matchup. We have now added Casey and Derek Frazier to the losers. Again, we'll see if they get voted back in or if it's the loser of this next matchup. Only one way to find out.
Who they're gonna be?
In the wheel. Up next for our final matchup. I really want some BB Can. Come on.
I know, that'd be cute.
Oh, are we back to 14? Okay, back to
Jojo's
14.
Spatafora.
Back to 14 with Jojo.
Interesting. She was one of the first Big Brother people to follow me on Twitter way back in the day.
Oh,
really?
Yeah. What's she up to?
Her and Gina Maria friends, or were friends on her season.
Yeah, that tracks.
Jojo Spatafora. Yeah, she was a house guest in Big Brother.
Yes.
Yeah, and I feel like simply, and it's so funny because at a point in time, maybe this is a reward to me. It is a gnat on my mirror.
Oh,
and I have to get it right.
You shattered the mirror?
You all just heard the death
shower,
of
but
that
I got
net.
it. But back to what's important. Big Brother 14 was my favorite season for like the longest. Like I've always had a connection towards it. Jojo didn't really play a huge part of it. And she was kind of made of the joke a lot of the times during her short stint on this season. So it's interesting what we find to talk about her.
If I was watching the season live, I would have been like, "This is the queen eating up the cast photo." We are here for Jojo. It's not too little, too late. We're gonna watch her dominate this game.
Wait, can I tell you why I necessarily didn't like Jojo that much? Because, and I were in such in a childish mind. It was early on, and you already saw Shane was either like flirting with Danielle or he was hanging out with Jojo. And I wanted Danielle and Shane to like flourish at the time. And I was like, Jojo's getting in between them. Like, get Jojo out of here. And so that was my main reason for wanting Jojo gone. Stupid reasons, but hey.
She talks shit about the cookout, so
oh, okay. Yeah, it tracks.
Wow. All right. Well, Amon, notes on Jojo.
Jojo was initially in a majority position as Team Brittany had formed an alliance with Team Janelle. However, after Team Janelle betrayed Team Brittany at the first eviction, Jojo quickly found herself in a minority position. When their previous target, Frank, won HOH, Jojo found herself in danger despite only being Frank's third target. She was nominated alongside Danielle, with whom she had a feud over Shane. Despite campaigning from her and Shane, Jojo was evicted by a vote of 5-1, placing 13th.
Yeah. So she's on Brittany's team. And this is and so is Willie Hance, recently eliminated. BB14 is turning into the last 5 episodes. It was like a BB25 party going on, and I guess 14 is having its moment here in the month of December. But yeah, so Willie is doing his Willie things, getting evicted from the house or getting ejected from the house. And the blowback just kind of falls on Jojo, right? The next week that's where all the attention is. It's not like, I don't think she was like endorsing what he was doing or endorsing him in the house. But
yeah, I don't think so. But I think her and Willie were close. I think Brittany's entire team hung out all the time, especially early on feeds. And because Willie was in power, so they were always in his room, and she kind of was like tagging on to him. But she did get advice to distance herself and to communicate and talk and strategize with other people. And from Brittany, I believe, but I don't think she didn't get it, and she didn't do it, and she didn't implement it. And it was a really funny moment between the two of them when Brittany was like, are you going to play Big Brother or something like that? Yeah. And she just kind of fell flat, which resulted in her leaving. at the time, because she was up against Danielle, and Danielle really didn't have that much social capital as well. Dan did with who's still Boogie, and due to Frank, and with Brittany, stuff like that. So yeah, she didn't do much.
And that's the week where, as we were talking about earlier, to bring this episode back around to the beginning, if Danielle gets evicted this week, Dan goes with him, with her. So
exactly. Yeah, that's the thing. I was like, that I think was the biggest detractor for her game right then and there, because none of the coaches wanted to see Dan go, because then they're up for the slaughter next. So it was like, all right, we got to make sure that Danielle stays. Jojo got to go, and Jojo didn't really do much to defend herself. So that's just how it goes.
I thought she was perfectly fine socially. It just really came down to, again, who I think she was, closely tied with. And while Willie Hance was being Willie Hance, a lot of other people in the house were bonding, including Danielle with other people in the house, like Shane and Brittany and Brittany's team, or not Brittany's team with Jojo, but
Janelle's team.
Yeah, just like everybody else. Jojo was just kind of left on the outs of that. And who's the HOH? Did it say in that blurb that takes the shot here? Frank, yeah. I guess it makes enough sense. It's like, well, this is not a person you have anything going on with, and if you're trying to build up your game, it's still week 3. Then you're not going to build up your game with Jojo. So let's just take her off the board. But yeah, that scene that Jacob you were referring to of Brittany trying to coach Jojo into like, here's what you can still do to stay. It just did not land. It didn't work. She's in the diary room being like, I'm trying. I'm really trying, but this girl's not doing anything I'm telling her to do. So.
Yeah. I think she was ready to go.
Yeah, she didn't help herself.
Like, it's bad when you're just already bad on your own, but when you have like a Big Brother legend in there, a very recent player that's gone through this game, some of the ups and downs, telling you what to do, and it just isn't clicking. That's not good. But again, I don't think she's the worst player in all of Big Brother history. I think there's worse.
There's definitely worse, but she's up there.
Is she? Actually,
I think so.
Not a good player.
Well, that was another quick one. So let's see one more time who we can get here on the wheel. Jacob, you want like a big exciting name, or you want to just
I want it to naturally flow.
Okay.
It ain't gonna take much to all we need is it ain't gonna take much to get her out. So or not to get her out, but to compete.
Unless it's somebody like Frenchie.
It honestly, a person like Liza Stinton, or I believe that's how her last name was.
Yeah, she's on the wheel.
Oh well, if that would be a kind of I like Liza during her season 1, but we'll see.
Okay. Well, I will hope for all of us, especially for the two of us here. We're both wishing for some BB Can, and I'll take Liza if that's who comes up. So. But, it's not an episode of the Diary Room if I'm not wishing for a BB Can name to come up. So let's see what happens here on the final spin of the day for Jacob Jones. Jojo matched up against. Let's see.
We have.
Who is it?
Jesse Godderz.
Okay.
And let me tell you, for the BB Can hopefuls, it was one spin away from Sabrina Abate.
Oh, that would have been cute.
Jesse Godderz.
Yeah.
Jesse.
Now, I gotta say, I'm upset that we are recording this episode as early as we are. Jesse Godderz is 2 days away as of this recording from the finale of House of Villains, where he might win. I don't know. Don't know.
I have to catch up. It'd be an epic redemption for him to win something. So I kind of hope that it happens. I mean, at least I don't know. I don't know if I do hope, because I haven't been watching. So maybe I don't want him to win. I don't know.
I mean, it wouldn't be the worst ending to the season. I'll say that. And anybody out there that has watched, or obviously you all know the results of House of Villains at this point. Either way, up until the point that I've currently seen the penultimate episode, it's been a hell of a ride for Jesse. But we're here to talk about his Big Brother gameplay, which really tying in a lot of these seasons today with 11, 14. So the through line is there. Yeah. Share screen, and Aman, notes on Jesse.
Jesse, in BB10, Jesse was known for his dislike towards Rennie. Intervention in a heated argument involving Keisha, Libra, and April, and getting evicted in week 4 by a vote of 4-3. He finished in 10th place. In BB11, he was part of the Affix clique. Following his clique's win in the first HOH comp, Jesse entered the game. He was closely aligned with Shima, Natalie, and Ronnie. In week 5, Jeff used the coup d'etat to overthrow Shima's nominees and replace them with Jesse and Natalie, and he was evicted in a 3-2 vote. He finished in 9th place. Jesse prides himself on his physique. This personality has led Jesse appear also in BB12, BB13, and BB14 as a special guest.
Surely that's not it. He's definitely been on more than just those. I don't. He's popped in for years now.
He was in the box, the
Pandora's box, or just like popping in. You know.
Yeah.
Was he not on reindeer games? How was he not on reindeer games? Like dressed in a
I
Santa
know
suit?
he should have been.
I
think he was. Did he like look so good carrying like some gifts or something?
I think he was on reindeer games. Didn't he make an appearance at reindeer games?
I think he made an
appearance.
appearance.
I have a distinct memory of him like in an elf costume, or maybe
I think that maybe was a Pandora's box one where he came, but I feel like he looked a little bit older. So
you are all correct that he wore a Santa suit at one point. This is from not reindeer games.
Big Brother 13.
It is 14. BB14.
BB14.
I was like, why do I have like Christmas imagery with Jesse?
Yeah, same.
I'm actually looking at a tweet that he posted. For all my new followers who saw me on the hit Netflix series Wrestlers, check out one of my other legendary appearances on the hit show Big Brother, which you can also now do on Netflix. And instead of showing one of his seasons, he just shows himself in the Santa suit that he wore to the Big Brother 14 house, of course, in his typical wrestling Speedo and all that.
And I feel like he was like he did something with the lovers thing on season 13 with the couples. I don't know.
He popped
this is very funny seeing especially his placement right here, because Jesse played very similar games both times with the mentality that he had, with the group forming around him that he had. And it kind of goes to show that it will really only get you to that certain point if you don't kind of luck out with the comp and any different dynamic switch, because he plays around the same every time. I think he had a lot of good things going for him that led him to kind of lead the charge at the start of the game, where his physical demeanor, where his looks to get close with the girls. But Jesse on those shows was such a little shit, and personality wise and probably social wise, outside of the people that he naturally clicked up with, he was awful with, which definitely showed his ability to, or his inability to, adapt to social settings and social situations other than just the way that he naturally shows up, which I thought was to his detriment.
Yeah. I think he's definitely one of those like sort of like dominant by force type of characters, likes to really show his physical prowess and his intimidating nature. And he will get down and dirty in an argument like the rest of them. He's a little bit of a gossip queen. Like the whole thing with Keisha's birthday, like he completely started that whole thing, and he didn't need to. And I'm like, why did you do this? I mean, I'm glad you did.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
we got Keisha's birthday, but in terms of like, you damaged your relationship with so many people in that house, and you created such a shitstorm for no fucking reason.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, it's not like he was in a great position in the first place in that season up until that point. It probably didn't help. But it's not like he was ruining his position with the entire house. Just a couple of select people that were mad that this little punk was running around and starting shit. So
troublemaker, you need to leave this house.
That was a spot on voice. But even he wasn't in any power kind of to do anything kind of different. But even when he came back as a game player and as a person that would hopefully enter a game to win, having a person that was on your click be responsible for you being out the door, it's wild to me. Like, you should have honed in on something your first season that just you didn't naturally show up with. He made so many enemies and his enemies wanted him out. He wasn't the most friendly, especially, I mean, what do y'all know the age that Jesse was
it's
in?
funny because I was actually gonna look that up.
He was what?
No, I'm saying it's funny you asked because I wanted to look that up too. Because I mean, he does come across in his first season like this young,
Yeah.
as Keisha calls him, young punk. 22 years old the first time, so I guess 23 the next year, and here we are today watching him on House of Villains, all these years later. So I guess he's in his 30s at this point, and just still has it. It really does.
Yeah, but he's more refined now because I've been keeping up with House of Villains, and I like the way that he moves now. To be honest, and the girls at E in the comments be eating him up, like loving him. They love Jesse. I feel like I be seeing so much love for Jesse in the comments to the House of Villains post. I think his rebrand may be working. Maybe he just should have been on TV in this era.
I don't know. I mean, I hear what you're saying, Jacob, as far as BB11 is concerned. I mean, I certainly cannot hold the coup d'etat against him. The fact that shows up and completely flips his game on its head and just snipes him right out of the game, that can't be his fault. But up until that point in the game, he leads a cult. And we've seen that from other players, like a Paul type later on. But not many do it as intensely as he does. And it's not even like he, as far as I feel like my memory goes, serves of it, is that I feel like he wasn't trying for that to happen. It just happened. Like he gathered his troops, he gathered the allies around him that he, was planning to play the game with, and he got so lucky not only having allies but having Natalie, who's going to run after Casey on his way out the door, and having Lydia and all of these people, Shima, like people that are really like him a lot, want him to be their ally in the game. Like it's just, again, it felt cult like, because not only, of course, we're going to see after he gets evicted in the same kind of BB6 Cappy type of way of like holding his picture up and, doing it for him all the way till the very end. Just even while he was in the house, it was just, if you said a bad word about Jesse, Natalie, Lydia, someone was going to have something to say about it. And then, when you also mixed in the fact that him and Lydia, got it on a little bit here and there.
Bumping purses.
Yeah, something was going on there, which was getting other people upset. And there was a whole lot going on, but he had Lydia in his corner. I don't know.
Made an interesting post on Reddit. It says Jesse's 2 evictions have a lot of weird similarities. Both times he was essentially voted out by America. Both times he was 1 vote away from staying. Both times his eviction changed the course of the game and caused a huge fight between the remaining house guests. Both times the person he was nominated against became the Caesars runner-up. Both times the current HOH didn't want him out. Both times that HOH got 8th place, and both times his eviction was followed by a woman named Michelle winning HOH.
Wow.
It's the last one that gets you there. You're like,
the last one was such a stuff. Wow. It's also very funny to see a 22 and 20, like probably my mind at the time, but as a 27-year-old person now, it's very funny to see a 22 and 23-year-old running the start of any type of Big Brother game, because I'm just imagining how I would view him. Yep, Jesse carried like his thing was 12 inches, you know what I mean? Like he had BDE to the max. So I guess I can kind of see it, but it's just him being 22 and 23, really walking up to people being like, what's up? Like it's wild to me. It's wild.
Yeah. I think that he's quite an interesting character for the show, and I think that his BB10 game was absolutely horrendous. I think that his social game was just crazy. He got into it with everybody. He pissed off everybody. Like it was just like Dan was going to vote him out whether or not Team America wanted him to vote him out anyway. Like he was going to be gone. BB11, he sort of employed a similar strategy, but had allies this time, had a nice safety net, and was completely screwed over by that stress. I don't know if he wins BB11, but he certainly does a lot better than he was doing in BB10. That's for damn sure, because all of those girls would have taken him to the final 2. Like it was crazy.
Well,
like it was,
and then I think he wins. Like not even think. I mean, he's up against a Natalie, a Lydia, anyone there. I mean, even Shima. I think he's got the votes. Shima gets, I think, the most votes of any of those 3 women, but I think Jesse wins.
And I wonder how much a returning player at that time caused like the other players to look at him in kind of an awe type of way as some of the players did. And we can even say like guy wise, like Russell at the beginning kind of had like googly eyes. Um, like I feel like that kind of enhanced his position in a positive way. Him being brought back with some type of authoritative, I guess any coach that would have came back kind of would it, but it's different. I feel like that perception of Jesse coming back then would be very different. And as we've seen when returnees come in now, how the eyes get glared at them. So I feel like he kind of came back at a perfect time where it wasn't judged so harshly and negatively inside of the game as a returnee coming back.
Yeah. The fact that he doesn't even get a chance to compete for a veto when the coup d'etat comes into play.
It was absolute bullshit. It was absolute bullshit. I remember being so pissed off, and then it just snowballs into this whole thing with Shima also being like getting ejected. It just like, but like y'all screwed her game up. Like it's not fair. Like they were in a top position, and you basically just said no. We're just gonna screw it. Like that sucks. Like. And Shima is still so iconic.
That she really is.
Like, it's really hard to not see
I can
how
play again, and I can win again, and there's no power next week. I
guess me and the producers need to have a little conversation.
Yes.
Iconic.
Shima, I need you to come to the diary room. I'm not coming.
I'm not coming. Please come.
I'm not coming.
I'm not coming. Please,
Shima.
Please come to the diary room now. All right, no need to sit down. Just come on to
gotta pull her sometimes. But in the meantime, no, I mean, look, Jesse, I really do think, and I'm sure a lot of people think, let us know in the comments that Jesse is the winner of Big Brother 11 if this doesn't happen. Of course, it's not like Jeff and Jordan are out of the game. If this coup d'etat doesn't happen, it was Lydia and Russell on the block that week. Somebody remind me if anybody remembers who would have gone. Probably Russell.
I think Russell was on the way out.
I think Russell was on the way out, which is again Russell and Jeff working together against the power of Jesse and his following at this point in the game. And so if Russell's gone, they really just have to worry about Jeff. And kind of
you remember that face off that Russell and Jesse had in the swim room?
Oh, we talked about it in the last episode.
Here. What's up? Yeah. Oh, that was so hot. That's so hot.
So many people, everyone that comments on the video is like, just kiss, just do it, just kiss. Because they were in each other's faces for like a good 5 minutes.
It was hot.
And it wasn't even a performance for anybody because they were alone in there. They were just like,
it was two men having a meet off.
I want to watch it now.
I do too.
I think there's more to get into with Jesse for sure, to break down more of specifics of BB11 and to even think back more on what led to Keisha's birthday and I don't know everything else in BB10. But I'm kind of getting the feeling that we'll get a chance to do that the next time that he comes up. So happy for that to be the case. And I guess with that said, to finalize, Amon, are you watching it?
Yes. It's just these two big ass bulky men.
I need to pull that up.
So everybody take a pause. Everybody take a break. Pause us here. Go watch and come back. But let's cast some official votes here and determine if Jojo or Jesse is seeing the next round. And Jacob, one more time, turn to you first.
I want to go. Oh yeah, I'm evicting Jojo Spatafora. I think Jesse played a better game than Jojo did. Simply put, and I enjoyed Jesse in the stream. I think he made moves. I think he was an active player, no matter how kind of horrendous or rambunctious or provocative he was. I think he made shit happen, and for that, in his stint to play, I'm giving him.
Giving him the next round?
Yeah, giving him the next round.
Yeah, there we go. All right. Well, Amon, as you watch Jesse before your eyes, are you going to send him through to the next round or evict him?
I will also be sending Jesse through to the next round. No coup d'etat this time, bitch. He's making it through.
Yes, and Jesse's going to go on in a 3-0 vote. Look, by the next time that Jesse comes up, I will know if he's a House of Villains winner. We will know. I'm always glad that I don't know because I want to come in here and talk about Jesse's House of Villains run because it has been great. Jacob, are you caught up to the most recent?
I am caught up. And to be honest, he's a little bit more. I mean, I guess with age, this happened. Jesse was a young kid when he first played the two, been on reality television. And so now seeing the way his mind works and seeing kind of him take a step back and not, especially on House of Villains, because at the beginning of House of Villains, he was very quiet and docile, which I kind of enjoyed him being a background character until a certain point where he actively made himself known amongst the entire house, and that kind of shifted everything. So he's getting himself in some hot water right now, but to be honest, the way he's playing, I'm here for it, and I think it's miles ahead of his stint on Big Brother.
Yeah, House of Villains spoilers that have already, I mean, we've already been kind of getting into it, but I'm just going to continue talking about it. If you haven't watched or whatever, and you want to pause, I don't know, or skip ahead. But the whole storyline for Jesse in the back half of this House of Villains season is him recognizing that Wes from the Challenge, who is one of the most strategically forward-thinking players in Challenge history, in reality TV history, is really like his end game opponent here. He's, you know, he knows that Wes needs to be taken down in some capacity, but when will he take the shot? And at one point, Wes comes to him with this fake idol, fake power that he has to trick Jesse into not getting him out around earlier. But now we sit here with the penultimate episode having just aired, a huge showdown between the two of them, a verbal showdown at the nomination ceremony where Jesse has the upper hand at the moment. But we're about to see, and again, all of you know how it played out. If Jesse or Wes got the last laugh, or honestly, neither of them might have gotten the last laugh. They both could have lost. Not sure.
I also really love Safari, and I love New York, so I'm here for it.
It's been a very good season. I'm on, highly recommend pushing it up your list. But you're also,
but it's also like not serious TV. Like
that's the great part.
Yeah, very true.
Mm-hmm. It's just yeah, it's good. House of Villains, highly recommend. Check out the Free Agents podcast. All right, well. Yeah, Jesse evicted. Jesse goes to the next round. Jojo evicted. So to recap everything that we just did, including that matchup, Jojo's gone. Jesse moving on. Casey from Big Brother 11 also evicted, and Danielle Murphree is moving on to the next round. Was that BB14 versus BB11 in back-to-back matchups? It was.
Wow,
it was. Yeah,
it was.
Interesting.
What do you know? And then we had the first matchup of the day was Matt Hoffman moving on to the next round in a 3-1 vote, with Amon casting a vote for Derek F. But he is still been evicted. What a fun time. All right. Well, Jacob, that's it for now. Thanks for coming on.
Yes, thank you for coming. Thank you for being here. We hope you had a good time, and we hope to see you again.
I
for
know.
round
and
2.
This was the night of Big Brother 14, which was the season, to be honest, that I just completely loved. And I remember being so obsessed with the Twitter account. And at the time, this is getting into vintage, Jacob, but at the time it was this thing called Blog Talk Radio. And it was like a kind of a little podcast in a sense, but it was 2 women that used to host a podcast. And they were called like Missy and something else. And I made an account on Blog Talk Radio just to talk about Big Brother, and no one watched it. It was, I just put it on Twitter and things like that. But it was super cute. And after this season of season 14, Dan wrote a book. He wrote a book called Clean Your Own Mirror. And I want a signed copy of that book by 2 of the ladies of that little Blog Talk Radio website, the podcasting that they used to host. So yeah.
Okay, I love learning new Jacob Jones lore. That's my favorite.
A signed copy. And and I feel like I saw Danielle Murphree, not saying, you know what I mean, but I saw her in person at some event.
I think Jojo as well also pops up at a lot of New York events. I don't know if it was one of those.
She used to come around a lot.
Yes, I mean she's a Jersey girl. I think I saw Jojo too, but I don't, you know what I mean. But yeah, it was a meeting of the minds in a sense. But yeah, and I saw Gina Maria one too, but I'm blocked by her.
Oh well,
that was when I was a little.
Yeah, Jacob, thank you so much for coming on today. Much appreciated. So happy to finally get you in here. Anywhere that people should be checking out, where's the music at these days?
Oh yeah, the music's so I do music under the name Air, H-E-I-R, and I released my first EP everywhere you listen to music, type in Air, and you my EP is called Sculpture and Sculptor, which is an insane project that I can't believe even came together, but it did. And the music is sickening as hell. and you should check it out. And yeah, follow me on Instagram at HEIR.sound. And yeah, I just got
the
back from
music,
Mexico, so it's some cute
you get the
Mexico
visuals. It's all
little
there.
things for it. Yeah. And yeah, I have a nice little tan. And thank y'all for letting me come here. I haven't talked Big Brother in a minute. And so this was fun. And I love talking about, like, especially the people that we talked about and the time of Big Brother that we were in at that specific time, which was honestly glorious. So yeah,
it's fun to look back. That's we're having fun.
really
So thanks again, Jacob. Just a reminder yet again here, patreon.com/the diary room, as this round of 5 episodes comes to an end. All the names we mentioned earlier, plus Derek Frazier, Casey Turner, and Jojo Spatafora will enter the next losers bracket. Aman and I will get together with just the two of us and figure out who the biggest loser of the bunch is. Will it be one of those 3 or someone else? And also, one of those names will get voted back in, one of the most recently eliminated 15 players. So check that all out there if you're interested. Cast a vote just like Ben did today, and ensured Matt Hoffman got through to the next round. So that's all the stuff we have going on over there. Make sure you're subscribed, please, over here, and like the video, write a comment. I'm sure you might have some comments to say about some of the things from this episode. So be nice, and let us know down below what you have to say. Final episode of the year, Aman. We made it through 2024.
Final episode of the year. Thank you guys so much for sticking with us thus far. It's been a lot of fun. We're going to go right into BB25, 2025 with the same energy. So, I'm just happy with all the support so far.
Yes, of course, follow us on the all the places you know where to find us. The at the diaryroom.bsky.social on Blue Sky, the Diary Room PCast if you're still on Twitter, at Matt Ligori, at Aman Adwin, all those places. All of those links are in the description. So if you haven't found us there and you would like to do that, make sure you find Jacob as well. Download the music, listen, support, all that fun stuff. But Aman, get us out of here.
Yes, our thanks to Jacob once again. And until next time, guys, please go to the diary room.